Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Arbuckle. Welcome back to another video. So I'm sure all of you Fortnite phenoms out there have already seen that with the latest update, Epic has included apples into the Fortnite world. I think it's a really cool idea. I was very skeptical at first how they were going to work, but after playing around with them for a while, I've started to grow on them, no pun intended. I do think that they are pretty awesome, and I don't think that they're overpowered. I think they're really cool. And for this video, I wanted to share with you guys where you can find these apples, because I know a lot of people are running around the map looking for them, and I wanted to make it easier. So for those of you that like watching my videos, hopefully I'll be able to share with you guys some knowledge and help you guys out. So the first thing I want to talk about is where you can find them. So these apples are basically located on the ground under the smaller trees. I call them the small oak trees. I don't know if they're actually oak, but let's say for example Wailing Woods. Those are the giant trees. The apples are not going to be under those trees. So unfortunately Wailing Woods is not going to be a hot spot for the apples. They also do not spawn under the pine trees. They also do not spawn under the willow trees. So Moisty Mire is also out of the question. So the main spot to find these apples is going to be around Tomato Town. You guys can see in the gameplay these trees that I'm showing you. Anywhere on the map where these trees are located, especially in bunches, there's a good chance you're going to find apples. Now, if there's one tree by itself, maybe there's two, the chances are lower. If you do run into a batch of these trees, maybe 3, 4, 5, even higher, there's a really good chance that you're going to find a lot of apples and maybe even enough to heal yourself from like 5 to 100 health. There's a few trees on here that I found that had a ridiculous amount of apples. I think there was 3 trees together and there was like 12 apples. It was insane. They were everywhere. But yeah, these trees, these smaller oak trees, are the spots to find them. The hot spot on the whole map is around Tomato Town. You guys know the bridge, the underground that goes through the mountain there. That area is the hot spot. These trees are all around that area. If you come out the bridge on the other side, on the side opposite of Tomato Town, that's where a whole lot of those trees are, and you'll see that there's apples everywhere. So if you end up getting in a situation where you don't have any bandages, you somehow lost health and you need to heal, if you're in this area, check around all these trees for apples, because there's just so much open space, there's so much room, and there's probably enough apples in this giant area to heal like 5 or 6 people all the way up to max health. So look around, you'll find them. But again, guys, they're the smaller oak trees. I can't stress that enough. Don't go to the big trees. They're not under the giant trees, not under the pine trees, not under the willow trees. So the smaller oak trees is where you're going to find them. The second thing I want to talk about is how they work. Okay, so you can't stack the apples, which I think is absolutely awesome. I was afraid that you were going to be able to stack like 20 of them and people were just going to run around with a ridiculous amount of apples and have basically unlimited health. And I was like, I don't know how this is going to work. You know, what if someone spawns in, they grab all the apples, one person has all of them? How is that going to, you know, that's really not fair. But they basically made it where you can't stack them and you can't use them unless you absolutely need them. So let's say I run up to an apple, I have full health. It's not going to let me use it. It's not going to make it disappear. It's going to stay right there. It's just going to basically not do anything. It's just going to leave it there. So I think that's really cool. That way that someone can't just go through and grab them all, you know, having max health. I see a lot of people, they go into the Dusty Divot and they just grab all of those things that allow you to jump high, and then there's like none left because one person took all of them, and that really doesn't do anything. So I was afraid that we were going to have the same problem there with the apples. Fortunately, that is not the case. You cannot grab them unless you need them. And you can't stack them. So I think that's pretty awesome. It's also pretty cool that you can kind of tell if you go towards that area. I know they are kind of uncommon, and there's not always going to be a certain amount of apples in certain spots, but there are a few areas where there's always going to be apples. So if you run into those and you see that there aren't apples on the ground, there's probably someone nearby or was someone nearby. So you can kind of use that as a tracking mechanism. I do think that is also pretty neat as well. It's not really anything, I don't want to go too deep into it, like let's just completely analyze these apples, let's go apple hunting, but it's just something that's kind of there to think about. But anyway, guys, that's my opinion. That's where you can find the apples, guys. Again, the smaller oak trees, those are where you're going to find all these apples laying around. All around Tomato Town, that area around that bridge up on the mountain is the hot spot, just outside of the Dusty Divot there. If you guys have any more questions, you guys have anything else to point out, make sure to leave it down in the comments below. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video.